Well, it's time to turn our attention back to the National League this weekend because the playoffs have reached the semi-final stage, and after all the kerfuffle both on and off the pitch in the last week, it is the teams between second and fifth that have made it through to the semi-finals. So this weekend we will be looking ahead to Barnet versus Solihull Moors on Saturday and Bromley versus Altrincham on Sunday, a game I'm going to. Hopefully you're looking forward to them as well. We're going to preview and predict both games, and I'll encourage you to do the same in the comments below. Let me know what you think the scores will be, and if you beat or match my score, I'll give you a shout out when we look ahead to the final with another preview show next midweek. On that note, very quickly, before we look ahead to the semi-finals, nobody got the correct score for the Eliminator. 4-2 it finished to Solihull Moors. One of you did get a point though, because Chris also went for a Solihull win, and you did better than me. I said on penalties, and it was by 2-1, your prediction. So you got it right in 90 minutes. Moving on though, let's look ahead to both of the semi-finals, and we'll start with the first game on Saturday between second and fifth place. Barnet will be making their second successive playoff semi-final appearance, having finished fourth last year before losing at home in the Eliminator against Boreham Wood, a game I saw live. Whereas for Solihull, after a poor year last season, they're back in the mix, and they had a good win against Halifax Town in the end. It looked like it was going to be a lot simpler than it ended up being. A 4-2 victory in the end, but 3-0 up just before half-time. 2 goals followed by, well, a comedy of errors and a gift from Halifax Town for the third. A pretty dismal own goal. But then they gave away that poor goal from a set piece just before half-time, and it let Halifax back into the game. They came out strong second half. In the end, it was pretty nervy at 3-2 before a late goal, which, let's be fair, the goalkeeper probably should have saved. Made it a safe passage through for Solihull, and ultimately, that's all that matters in the playoffs. Getting through by any means possible. Done in 90 minutes, so no extra legwork before the weekend. But it is maybe the thing that's making me worry about these two sides a bit more than perhaps those in the other semi-final. Because Barnet and Solihull both conceded 60 plus goals this year, and perhaps the bigger worry for the visitors Solihull is that they've scored 20 less than Barnet as well. We have though got a goal scorer to look at in both teams. Nicky Kabamba for the second year in a row, banging in the goals for fun. He was kept quiet by a Boreham Wood defence in last year's Eliminator. Will he be able to do more this time around? We'll wait and find out. Barnet struggled against a side that sat really deep behind the ball, but this season they've learned to adapt and deal with that a bit better. And of course, scoring more goals and putting teams away quicker. And I think that's going to make a difference against the Solihull side that probably won't sit back quite so much anyway. I just feel this might play into their hands a little bit more. Do you have to factor in that Solihull, yes, they're going to be fresher having played the Eliminator, but it's only 6 or 7 days since the season ended. I mean, ultimately, there's not going to be any rustiness really, is there? For the visitors, the skipper popped up with a big goal, but also we have seen Tavon Campbell look a real threat since coming in from Wealdstone. Big goal for him at the start of that match as well. And overall, a good performance from the visitors. And there is something else in their favour as well, because they have got the best away record in the National League this season. 40 points from their 23 games, despite a negative goal difference, but 11 wins out of 23 and only 5 defeats on the road. And I mentioned this when I was doing the preview for the Eliminator. Solihull and Halifax were two of the very few teams with a better away record than home one this season, and the only ones in the top 7. That means it's going to be very difficult work for Barnet on Saturday night. However, they've got a great home record themselves. Only Chesterfield had a better one this year. They've got the best defensive record in the division after Southend, who obviously would have been in the playoffs if it weren't for the points deductions. And they've scored 50 goals there as well. So Barnet are a team that are pretty mean defensively at their own ground, the Hive. Solihull, ironically, have been both freer scoring and more defensively inept away from home, conceding and scoring more. And I think that makes this a better game on paper. But then Solihull Halifax looked like it might be a quite cagey one, and it ended up being a thriller because of the way it went. I can see this being difficult for Barnet. Of course, they're naturally going through an extra stage to last year, but I've just got a funny feeling about this one. Solihull come into it after a big effort on Wednesday night, but they've got that factor there. The away record is great, and I can see if they hold on for a little while, Barnet will get edgy. Of course, Barnet went 2 down against Boreham Wood in last year's one, which made it very difficult for them to come back. Dean Brennan's done an excellent job for them this year. I really think Solihull might get this. I'm going to go by 2 goals to 1 for the visitors. I think there will be goals in this game. I was tempted to go more. We know the National League playoffs always deliver entertainment and drama. And I know apart from Solihull's away record, everything would suggest Barnet's going to get through. And they deserve to based on their season. But I've just got a funny inkling about this one. I could end up looking a complete idiot. And obviously for most purists, you want second v third in the final. It doesn't always work out that way. So I'm going to go for Solihull to upset the apple cart with a 2-1 win away at Barnet. The second game is the one I'll be attending on Sunday at Hayes Lane. It is third place Bromley versus fourth place Altrincham. And this one is going to be pretty interesting for a different reason, because Bromley under Andy Woodman have overachieved again, have made the playoffs again. Last year it lost out in a semi-final away at Chesterfield narrowly, having beaten Woking in the eliminator. What on earth happened to them this year? But Bromley have got the second meanest defence in the whole division after Southend, who we mentioned a bit earlier. Whereas Altrincham have got one of the best attacks with 84 goals scored and a very good goal difference. They finished the season in form, both of them unbeaten in 5 prior to the final day. Bromley were beaten though away at Gateshead, who obviously didn't get to take part in the playoffs in the end. We've talked consistently about the brilliant job that Woodman has done, but you've got to give credit to Altrincham as well. They've got a goal-scoring threat. Chris Clark with over 20 this season, and other players stepping up when needed as well. And of course, on the other side of that, we know who Bromley's main man is. Michael Cheek, every season is in and around the 20 mark. He just always delivers. He's a regular goal scorer at this level, and no matter which way Bromley play, he always finds himself in the box and on the end of things, which is the hallmark of a brilliant striker. So I do think this is going to be an entertaining game. I'm certainly hoping it will be in attendance. Bromley have got a very good home record this year, just 4 defeats, only one more than Barnet, who we covered in the last tie. Whereas Altrincham on the road, maybe not quite so good, because we mentioned that Altrincham have scored 84 goals this year, but 54 of them were at home. They've only got 30 on the road. They've lost 8 games away from home and only won 8 as well. It's definitely where they've been poorer. They've got a worse defensive record and a significantly worse attack on the road, whereas for Bromley, they've scored 45 of their 73 goals at Hayes Lane. So in front of their own crowd, they usually have a significant advantage. And add to that, a little bit of superstition, if you like that side of the stats as well. Third place is the most likely in the history of the National League playoffs to achieve a promotion. And with Bromley being local, they've got Wembley experience from a couple of years ago with the FA Trophy final they won against Wrexham. This could be a very big season, and I do fancy whoever wins this tie has got a real opportunity in the final. We've mentioned before when covering the Championship and the EFL about playoff experience and how that can knock you on the next year. Bromley and Barnet have both had that, but Bromley having that experience and then the Wembley experience as well maybe just edges them as favourites for me. I'm going to go for them to pip Altrincham in this game. I think it will be an exciting one. I think Altrincham will come to attack. Ultimately, I feel that Bromley will get the first goal and that will force a more entertaining game. And I do think that the host will come out on top. The records would suggest this one's pretty clear-cut. You've not got that great away team like we saw in Solihull in the last tie. So I'm going to go for the host to win this time. I'm going to go by 3 goals to 1 to book their place at Wembley, what I'm calling as Bromley v Solihull Moors. And of course, that will mean 2 trips in 2 weeks for Solihull, who do finally get to play Gateshead in the FA Trophy final on non-league finals day. So let's have a quick recap of what I've gone for in the semi-finals. I've gone for a shock in the first game on Saturday night, with Barnet to be pipped by Solihull, the best away team in the division, by 2 goals to 1. From a neutral point of view, I'd probably like second v third in the final. Barnet-Bromley would be a cracker. But Solihull, they've already got 1 trip to Wembley booked, and they'll be looking to make it 2. For the Sunday tie, I've gone for Bromley to beat Altrincham just because their home record is so far superior to Altrincham's away one. Altrincham defensively not quite so strong and don't carry as much of a goal threat on the road. I just feel Bromley will have too much and their playoff experience may count for something too. So those are my predictions for this weekend's National League playoff semi-finals. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree? Who do you think will make it to Wembley? And are you going to either of the games? Let me know down in the comment section. If you want to stay up to date with everything across the channel, please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We had our weekend championship predictions yesterday and our Premier League preview on Wednesday. And over the next week, we will have a preview of the National League final, the final 2 match days in a championship, another Premier League weekend, and all of the EFL playoff semi-finals. It's going to be an action-packed week. It's a brilliant time of the season. We all love it as football fans. Well, as long as you're a neutral in them anyway. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do put a thumbs up on it. Good luck to all the teams taking part. Good luck to your team if you're going to a game. And I'll see you back here next midweek as we look ahead to the National League playoff final, which takes place next Saturday afternoon at Wembley, but which 2 sides will be there.